What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. You're watching Everything Weapons. Today we're gonna do top 5 reasons, quick simple explanation video, 5 reasons why the Iran-US war has no strategic benefit to the United States, and basically why it is the worst idea of all time that goes completely against America's interests, not only financially but every aspect possible. So, to me, the number one first biggest reason why the US-Iran war is not strategically an advantage to Americans is before this recent war with Iran that started on February 28th of 2026 this year, the Strait of Hormuz was fully open and operating normally. So roughly 130 to 140 commercial vessels and oil tankers passed safely through the vital global trade waterway every day. And pre-war, its status, the Strait of Hormuz, had smooth traffic. So standard international shipping lanes handled nearly a quarter of the world's seaborne oil trade with no extended closures. Once the war started recently, the Strait of Hormuz was closed and damaging the entire world's oil supply and trade. So past political tensions and threats did not result in any long-term shutdowns or blockades of the strait. So the traffic collapse, daily ship transits dropped from roughly 130 plus down to a tiny fraction after military strikes began. So the waterway remains heavily restricted and contested amid ongoing blockades and stalled negotiations. So if the United States and Trump did not go to war with Iran, the Strait of Hormuz would still be fully open and operating normally. Next up, reason number 2. U.S. service member deaths. So the total cumulative death toll for U.S. service members in the recent conflict with Iran stands at 18 fatalities, which may not be big to you. However, there is a lot injured as well. Over 600 American soldiers total are wounded or injured service members tracked across the campaign since hostilities began on February 28th, 2026. So 14 listed under the initial Operation Epic Fury were dead, and then 4 more were recategorized or associated with renewed July fighting, alongside the 600 wounded. Now, the worst thing is that Trump and the DOJ tried to downplay how many American service members actually died, which is terrible and disgusting. Very treasonous. So, the Strait of Hormuz is closed before the war was open, and we have almost 20 dead Americans with almost 700 wounded and injured American service members. So I don't know about you guys, but I would prefer if U.S. didn't go to the war with Iran and we didn't lose those 18 service members and we didn't have almost 700 American soldiers wounded or injured. Next up, another reason why the Iran war is no strategic benefit to the United States is the loss of U.S. military aircraft. According to congressional reports and assessments from Operation Epic Fury, at least 42 U.S. American military aircraft planes have been lost, damaged, or destroyed since the conflict with Iran began. This totals includes a mix of combat write-offs, operational accidents, and as well as ground damage from missile or drone strikes. None of these would have occurred if we didn't go to war. So the MQ-9 Reaper drones, approximately 24 of these drones were lost in operations. Fighter jets includes F-15E shot down over Iran, so we lost that, as well as multiple F-15Es lost to friendly fire incidents and combat-related damage to stealth platforms like the F-35, as well as refueling and support aircraft. Multiple giant KC-135 refueling tankers were damaged on the ground or lost in transit incidences, and as well as ground and spec ops losses, airframes intentionally destroyed or damaged on the ground during regional base attacks, alongside search and rescue losses. So almost 45 military aircraft at 42, at the very least. It could be more, we don't know. But, I mean, come on, guys. Over 40 American very expensive planes, and are no longer in the United States portfolio and arsenal of airplane fleet. So I don't know about you guys, but yeah, that's not a good track record for America, and I would prefer if we still had those 42 aircraft, right? Next up, another reason is just the shocking amount of money that this Iran-US war has cost Americans. So the United States government has spent an estimated $37.5 billion with a B, $37 billion just over in direct military costs on the conflict in Iran since hostilities began on February 28th. So this is just disgusting, right? Almost 40 billion US dollars. Just imagine, guys, only imagine if that 40 billion dollars, almost 37.5, whatever, I'm just rounding it up. It's probably 40 billion. Imagine if that was used directly to support America. Imagine if we could spend 40 billion fixing our homeless and remigration problems, and what else? The struggling American economy. People can't afford homes, people can't afford to live, they can't afford food right now because of this stupid war. Imagine if we used billions, 37 billion, to actually help Americans directly here in our home country and homeland, right? So the 37.5 billion figure does not include an estimated 5 billion required to repair extensive structural damage at U.S. bases in the Middle East, such as Kuwait, that was recently hit, Qatar, and Bahrain, hit by Iranian missiles. So the Trump administration has requested an additional 67, of course they had to go with the 6-7 meme, right, and urgent funding to replenish depleted missile defense interceptors and expand domestic production lines. Another thing, we're low on Patriot battery missiles. So this war has completely depleted our stock of the Patriot missile interceptors. If you didn't know, they're expensive, sophisticated missile interceptors. So they're missiles that take out the missiles and drones, and we are very low. It's not doing good right now. Lockheed Martin is upping production to 2,000 a year. At least they're going to try, but America literally can't even cover all of the Gulf states, guys. We can't even defend everywhere at the same time at every U.S. base, in every Qatar, Kuwait, like everywhere. We can't even do it. America is basically number one source of intercepting missiles. Next up, the last reason why the Iran war is no strategic benefit to the United States is the hypocritical civilian killings. So if you didn't know, on February 28th, 2026, a U.S. Tomahawk cruise missile strike hit near the Shahare Tayyaba Elementary School for girls in Manab, Iran, killing over 160 people, mostly children and schoolgirls and teachers. So you have the DOJ, Trump, and the American government that is fully owned by Israel hypocritically say, we need to save Iran, we need to save the Iranian people from this terrible regime, and then they just go and bomb schoolgirls. So, that's great. The attack occurred during the initial U.S. and Israeli military operations against Iranian targets. Even worse, they did a double tap. So reports and local authorities alleged a double type strike. Some even claim three. A second impact occurred roughly 40 minutes later during rescue efforts, and weapon experts and open source investigators analyzed geolocated video footage showing a U.S. manufactured Tomahawk missile striking the area adjacent to the girls' school. So where does the argument go there? Not too convincing, right? The DOJ, the Israelis, claim we need to save Iran from this barbaric, they kill civilians, right? And then the U.S. goes and kills over 160 people, mostly children and teachers, right? Little schoolgirls are a big threat to the USA, right? Yeah, let's use our very expensive, super expensive, costs a lot of money, Tomahawk sophisticated cruise missile to take out school children. So they're not even taking out military targets here. With this specific strike, at least. So, complete 100% hypocrisy. How does killing 160 school girls benefit the United States? I feel like no one can defend this, and it's so hypocritical. Just absolutely horrific, evil, horrible. And keep in mind, I'm America first. I am not a sympathizer to Muslims. I want the Muzzies out of Europe, out of America. I think that it's terrible that a lot of Muslim countries don't help out Palestine. They don't help out Iran. You know, Saudi Arabia and the surrounding countries, they need to help out their Arab brothers, and I'm very against the invasion of Spain, Europe, the total destruction of the Muslim invasion, but they need to just go home, and I only care about America. I don't care what happens to Iran. I don't want the Iranian people to be eradicated. I don't want Palestine and Iran to cease to exist, obviously, but I just am America first. I worry about America first. And how we're doing here, helping out the homeland. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. It was kind of mostly for the goyim, for very stupid people that are just uneducated on why this war is not strategically beneficial to our country. So hopefully you learned something or enjoyed watching. And these are just 5 reasons. The other reasons go on and on forever, right? I could, if I wanted to, I could make 100 reasons why this war is stupid and treasonous, really. It comes down to treasonous. It's not only bad, but it's like just illegal in my eyes for the Founding Fathers' perspective, but hopefully this video can educate some dumbasses and some of the cattle goyim, right? But drop a like, type me a comment down below of what you think is the most convincing argument. For many, it's the Strait of Hormuz being open before the war, and now it's shut, and now the global oil supply. For many, it's the hypocritical civilian killing by America and Israel, and for some people it may just be the dead American soldiers or the amount of money and aircraft that we have lost, and missiles, right? We're suffering there as well. So once again, you've been watching Everything Weapons. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, ring the bell, that way you do not miss a video we post in the future, guys, and find me on all social media. We're on all platforms, so follow me on Instagram, Rumble, X. We're on Snapchat, TikTok, whatever you prefer. My TikTok got deleted, but I'll just keep making more. I'm going to try not to get deleted there, so I'm really trying to hold back. But obviously Rumble, I'm allowed to be a lot more less censored, right? But see you guys in my next video. Take care.